Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are in the world. I had to get used to that, switching that around because we are doing this in the afternoon right now instead
Yeah,
of evening. So I had to actually use my brain to forcefully say that, but glad it turned out okay. But we are back at a different time than usual weekly. And the reason for that being sometimes we have guests that are kind of, in a different time zone and we can't always fit them into our weekly regular schedule. So we decided since this month to experiment with two different times depending on the guest to more accommodate European guests and maybe some from the US depending on their schedule. So that's why we are earlier today. But with that being said, Sean, look who we have here today. We've talked about hype a lot, but I think this one is
we've silently plugged into Hive a little bit. When we had guests, we subtly kind of mention it. Like I often try to drop it in. But yeah. Oh, this is actually fun. We got somebody jumping in from Stockholm. So thank you for joining in again. That's pretty cool that you're all the way in Europe. I'm guessing this is a much better time for you to watch the show than our regular programming. So okay, so today's guest is somebody that I admire a lot because basically he's doing what I, on one hand, dream of doing, but on the other, I'm not committed enough to actually try to do. And it's actually somebody that I've met pre-Hive. Well, I've met online pre-Hive, and it's somebody who has always helped educating newcomers, people that are interested in Hive, even the platform before Hive, and way back when it was Steam. Always I helped out and tried to create tutorials for everybody to understand how this technology works. So for the first time, I'm actually not the one that's going to be talking about Hive. We've got somebody much more experienced, but also somebody who made the shift to the blockchain much earlier than most of us. Maybe not the earliest, but definitely is somebody who transitions into it full time. So without further ado, let's introduce our guest for today, John G. Olson. Welcome, John.
How you guys doing?
So,
Thanks for
so
having
I,
me.
yeah, I mean, I'm really excited to have you here. Like I said, I just usually read your posts, go to the tutorials. You're one of the few people that if somebody is new to Hive, I'm like, just go to the hiveguide.com. You're gonna get all the information there. And I do have to ask because we talked about your shirt a little bit, and people are gonna notice the Plan B with the Bitcoin V. So can you elaborate a little bit on the shirt for us?
Let's see. Where do I start? This is gonna be fun. So yeah, I've been building businesses online for over 20 years now, and I used PayPal for years. 17 years of being in business with PayPal, built really successful online businesses. Everything was wonderful. April 2017, they send me an email and say, "We're shutting your account down. That's it." And they never gave me a reason. To this day, they still have never given me a reason, but it basically ruined my life. My business was destroyed, and it's my fault. I mean, hindsight is 2020, but it basically took all of how I was earning my living and just took the rug right from underneath my feet. So I had to reinvent myself. The company I was owning at that time, we dabbled in Bitcoin and Litecoin actually a little bit, kind of 2014ish. So pretty early. Like they're pretty there right at the beginning. And whatever, it just kind of we had our fun with it, and then we sold it. We sold Bitcoin at $500 because Bitcoin was never going to go higher.
How does that feel looking back?
You know what, dude? But like hindsight is 2020, but it's funny because like we got in around about $100. Like that's kind of when so the fact that we 5x'd our money, it was like at the time. So I can't go back and go, oh, I'm an idiot. Oh, I say that all the time. I look in the mirror and I tell myself that daily. But I can't really get too upset about it because you never know what the future holds. So we won. We got something out of it. But anyways, we kind of left the crypto stuff and just kept building our business. And then 2017 happened. PayPal took the rug from under our feet, and I was pretty down and out for a couple months. But then something clicked. I was like, crypto. Let's look into this more. So we took our online businesses and started bringing them over to more blockchain stuff. So the plan B is my plan A was PayPal. my plan A was fiat. My plan A was dollars and cents. See what happens when you rely on that, how good it goes. So plan B is kind of the,
This is so interesting to give you a perception, because like when you started like saying like, and I was fully focused on PayPal, you were like, can you give us advice for a country where PayPal isn't allowed? And then you just like in our face like, I lost access to my PayPal account, and we're like, oh, okay, so now we really have something to talk about, because we're
Nice.
in a country where basically you can't receive PayPal payments with a local bank. You need
Right.
to have an international bank account, and even myself, I got shut down by PayPal as well. Till this day, also they never
Yeah.
explained.
No.
But I'm guessing I don't live in Europe. I don't live in the US either. So
Right.
as soon as they found out, they just shut down my account. And so I think that's very interesting that you can provide a perspective for people who are actually like, we can't use PayPal. Because one of the excuses we hear here a lot when it comes to e-commerce, when it comes to dabbling with online services, is, yeah, we don't have access to these kind of things.
Right.
Now, the question that I want to ask you, because I tried to find some information, you're actually an email marketing expert, an online marketing and social media expert. So
Mm.
could you tell us a little bit more about like how you started in, because you started over 20 years ago. How did you start in the online space?
Yeah, I was actually in the music industry before. I was an artist manager. We had a little, DJ kind of group that we had, and we were doing the whole touring thing. And I thought this was going to be my life. And no, it wasn't. It actually was miserable because you don't make any money in the music industry unless you're, Kanye or something, right? So I started looking at ways, and you got to remember this is 20 years ago, so late 90s, early 2000s. I'm looking for ways to promote my artists online, because I'm sitting here going, this is going to be the future. This is going to be where everyone's going to start advertising and marketing their music and their acts and everything online. And I literally, I'm no word of a lie, I clicked on a banner. It was one of those old banners that said, make money online. Like, I literally clicked on a banner that said, you can make money online, click here, back in like 99 or 2000. I can't even remember, it was so long ago. And it just kind of, down the rabbit hole, I started like poking around, and then I started learning about traffic generation. And this is way before social media. I'm talking a long time ago. It just, one thing led to another. I found these really cool ways to generate traffic, started really focusing on it, built online websites, and just started building membership sites where we get new people coming in trying to learn how to make money online. And it started with me training and doing a lot of the training that we do now in the Hive Guide, Click Track Profit, and the like. But that's how I got my start, was literally clicking a banner, trying to find ways to promote my musical artists back then. So
How common were nowadays, especially in the crypto space, we get a lot of, Discord DMs, a lot of these, pump and dumps, a lot of these scams coming through. How common were these types of banner advertisement, personal DM advertisements back then? Is it something from today, or was that very common back then?
It was like all the time, right? I mean, there was always some banner or some, and this is way even before like the word spam was a thing, right? Like no one knew what spam email was, and because it was so new. Like you getting an email was a big deal back then, and then someone saying, "Oh, you can make a lot of money by clicking this link." You're like, "Yeah, okay. And it ended up being like a scheme or a scam. They were everywhere, man. And it's funny because just like you said, you go to you get the Discord notices or the Telegram notices, some pump and dump thing that's coming. It's like it's just the same stuff over. It's like nothing's changed. It's still someone trying to weasel their way to get money off someone unsuspecting, trying to take advantage of it. And I'm sure they'll reinvent themselves when the next thing comes. It's always been here. Yeah.
They are really reinventing themselves. If you see them sometimes now, it's like, whoa, this really looks like a legit business.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we got some people joining in. Jager is joining in from Twitch. He's saying back then spam was still emergency food. Rajiv
Exactly.
is also tuned in, and Motev is commuting and listening. Yes, Anil, we started out early. We're trying to see whether or not the afternoon slot works as well. So we're doing an early show today. But you started off as well with, or I don't know if you started off, but you did a lot of email marketing back in the day as well. Is
Mhm.
email marketing still a thing? Is it still a legit way to get around, or is it even become bigger over the past years?
I think it's. Remember, I just said like you get that feeling of getting an email, and you were really excited back then. I still get that feeling now. It depends on the list that I'm on, right? Like if it's someone trying to sell me, the latest greatest potion, it's like whatever, man. Like wine me and dine me a little bit before you try to marry me. But with email marketing, I've always said, and something that I've trained people for years and years, it's stop thinking of it as email marketing. It's more relationship marketing. It's more how do you build a relationship with the person on your list? How do you get them to actually know, like, and trust you? And that's really the challenge. And this sounds really simplified, excuse me. Anyone can literally generate like leads. Like that's kind of like once you kind of get the formula down, anyone can sign up to an email list and you start generating email lists. It might not be tens of thousands of people, but you can get a couple dozen, you can get 50, you can get 100 people just knowing some basic stuff. The problem is getting them to know, like, and trust you. And that is where I think email marketing is much more effective now than it was back then, because back then people were just trying to sell you something. Now you can separate yourself from the crowd by actually trying to get to know your audience, get to build a relationship with the people on your list. If you do that, now I'm not saying you're going to go try to get 20,000 people to know your dog's name or your kids what school they go to. I'm not saying like that, but you offer value. You get out there in front of people and you're actually giving them something that they look forward to. That's the golden nugget, I think, when it comes to email marketing, is focusing on the people and building the relationships. So
It's more like community building now, right? Because if you look back, I'd wager a lot of the people who are mainly on email, because that was the main form of communication back then, kind of
Mhm.
migrated to the social platforms, to the other types of platforms, and kind of left email in the dust in a
Yeah.
way, giving the opportunity for creators again to get intimate with their communities and get direct feedback. I actually got remember I sent you a photo a few weeks ago, Jean-Luc, from ConvertKick, one of the email um, newsletter tools. And there's a few stories there from creators, and it's really, I read through the whole thing, and it was really interesting to see like how they've built over 5, 10 years, build that list. And it's only after those long hours consistently creating newsletters, engaging, that kind of something click, and that's when their careers as a creator online kind of picked up, because they have were able to create that relationship and building. So I feel like that's the direction we're going now, and I can fully resonate with what John's saying right here.
Mhm. Yeah, man.
We're having some fun stuff in the comment section. So I was saying the Nigerian prince has stepped up his IT skills. Definitely, I mean these things are getting. Sometimes I even like, is this for real? This can't be real. And basically, then it's not true.
Right, right.
And Ryan says, I should have clicked on the banner 15 years ago. Maybe I would have been where John's at. and clickbait creators are taking over. And yes, people are a little bit confused, and we're actually going to call it an afternoon confoes for now. So okay, so to give the people that are watching an idea, John, like how much time do you spend in crypto space on a daily basis?
Dude, it's taken over my life. Because this is the thing. Like when going back to the story about how Plan B came up, um, it made a lot of sense for me to focus my businesses on. Back then, it was Steam, the blockchain that shall remain nameless. Now it's Hive, but it made a lot of sense. So what I did was I fully engulfed. Like I totally went all in. I said, "This is what we need to do. This is going to be the future of online business. It's going to be the future, but everything. Like if you're in the crypto space, you know that what blockchain represents. It's total world change. It's just such an awesome thing. Specifically in my business, it made so much sense. So when you ask like how much time do I spend, we got 1,440 minutes a day. If there was 1,441 minutes a day, I'd probably spend that extra minute doing something crypto related. It's taken over my life because my online business is such a big passionate thing that I have. It's just this perfect fit where it's always crypto. Some trying to find some angle to put a blockchain or a crypto spin into what I'm building online.
So I quickly want to ask on that. So previously you mentioned 2014, you guys were already into Bitcoin
Yeah,
and then kind of
proud.
dropped it off. You are more focused on the online business with,
Yeah.
PayPal Fiat. And it's only in 2017 when everything crashed that you started to look into that again. So am I right that you actually didn't follow the developments in those 3 years as
I
much?
I watched a couple of documentaries on Netflix and that was about it. Like I really it was kind of like, oh yeah, but it's funny you asked that because like when I understood what Bitcoin was, I got it. Like it was just like one of
Yeah.
those things where it was like, this is brilliant. This is going to be awesome. I should look into this more. And for whatever reason, I mean, during that time, like 2015, I got married. My focus was on my wife, like, and I'm still saying it is. I love her. I'm not saying that, but like, kind of life happened, and my businesses were still going pretty strong. Everything was wonderful, beautiful. Traveling a lot because my business partners are in America and I'm in Canada, so a lot of going back and forth. So it wasn't that I forgot about Bitcoin or crypto. I just my focus was elsewhere. So, but that's why when 2017 happened, and then that's when the boom started,
Yeah.
right? Like right when the boom started, I was just like, hey man, I should probably look at this a little bit more. So
That's really interesting because I heard about Bitcoin, I think 2012, 2013 from friends in the Netherlands. But
Mhm.
back then, it wasn't as easy to get access to it, to any of the cryptocurrency. And especially here from where we are, even
Right.
doing online shopping is kind of a barrier for many. So I found it interesting back then, but I couldn't really access it. So it just flew over my head. And it wasn't, as you said, 2017. It actually, end of 2016, January 2017 is when I started going into the space as well. And
Mhm.
I just really checked real quick on our Hive accounts. We actually have our Hive account earlier than John, and yet he
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah. No, no, no. There are two things that you should definitely separate. First of all, the first 6 months that I had my account, I was just lurking. I was like, I wasn't even lurking. It was like when the boom, when the end of 2017, when
Yeah.
Bitcoin was kind of slowly taking off, that was when I realized, like, wait a minute, I have an account somewhere. I have to check it out. And the second thing is, I was always, and I still have it to this day. I'm still afraid to bring everything that I have offline to bring it online because I didn't have PayPal shut me down. If like a
Mhm.
local bank now would say like, sorry, we're gonna stop the access to your money, I think more and more that's gonna start come to play. But like our clients are very traditional as well. So then
Right.
in that sense, I still have to make this transition switch that we could accept online payments with crypto. And another thing that kind of, and you can advise us on this a little, John. One of the things that's really kind of putting me in an uncomfortable situation is the fluctuation of the currencies. It's
Mhm.
like if you're into crypto and you have a company that earns like in Bitcoin or Litecoin or any coin for that matter, you really don't have you can't be dependent on having to cash it straight away because let's say there's this big bull run and you kind of people pay you when Bitcoin is at 80,000 and then when it's at 40,000 you all of a sudden have bills to pay and
Right,
you
right.
can't cash out because you lose half of your money.
Hmm.
So so if you want to transition in from your business which is mainly offline and you want to take it online, you want to bring it into the crypto space, like how do you deal with the pricing and those kind of things?
Um, I mean, the easy answer would be like, focus on things like stable coins and stuff. But all stable coins aren't created equal. Obviously, I'm very biased. I think that the Hive blockchain has the best stable coin out there because not only is it decentralized, because with Tether and USDC, all this stuff, it's like they say it's backed, right? With like $1 is always behind it, using bunny ear quotes, like sure it is. But with HBD, which is the Hive one, it's code that's backing it. It's not fiat that's backing it. It's code. So a stable coin to me, the HBD for people that might not be aware of the Hive backed dollar or the Hive blockchain dollar, it's pegged to one HBD will always equal, give or take, $1 worth of Hive. So, and the code makes sure it stays relatively there. Now, the fact that it's traded on different markets, there's always price fluctuations, but generally, especially over the past couple of months with the HBD stabilizer project and the hard fork and stuff, it's really kept the peg pretty close. So, someone who's buying and selling something online for $5. You go online, you want to buy, I got my kid's toy here. It's $5. Great little toy. It looks like an Axie Infinity, doesn't it? Kind of, sort of, a little bit.
Yeah, sort of.
So it's $5. And if you give someone $5 worth of Bitcoin today for this, it might be 5 times this tomorrow, or it might be a fraction of what you gave. But if it's a stable coin, you know that you're giving $5 worth of HBD today. $5 of HBD tomorrow is relatively going to be the same. It doesn't go too crazy. So a traditional entrepreneur, a traditional offline business, they'll understand that, right? Like trying to tell them, hey, go and get the Bitcoin and give me some Bitcoin. That's just like, oh, well, what's the price going to be tomorrow? I don't know. But a stable coin makes a lot more sense for an offline or an online business that's trying to get into blockchain stuff. So I'm obviously biased. I would say the Hive backed dollar is the best, or the Hive blockchain dollar, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, that's what I would say.
Speaking of being biased, so I want to quickly figure out. So you already said blockchain made sense to you, Bitcoin made sense, but in 2017 in particular, when you went, all in crypto, how did you decide on which crypto route? Because crypto is a broad term. It's a
Yeah.
very, very broad term. How did you decide that it would be Hive or back then Steam?
Mhm.
What was the frame of mind or the criteria that you were looking for when making this decision on going all in?
Use case, plain and simple. To me, I stumbled across Steam, and I actually read the white paper and the blue paper. And I know people are like, you actually read that stuff? And if you've ever read a white paper for a crypto project, you need a PhD in computer science to figure some of this stuff out. Like, it's another language. Like, like aliens from Mars wrote this stuff. Like, it's just, they don't make it simple for everyday people, right? So, but I actually managed through it, and I understood what they were trying to do. I understood delegated proof of stake. I understood the SMT projects, the smart media token project that they had, the tokenization of the web, the technology and then apps built upon it. It made sense to me, but more importantly, I could actually use it every day. I could make a blog post and put it out there. So here I am, an online business affiliate marketer who basically it's told you need to be creating content. I can create content that's immutable on a blockchain, not only is it out there forever and ever, amen, but it's also, I can get paid for. Are you kidding me? I can get some crypto for this. And that blew my mind. So use case was what attracted me to Steam. I mean, back then I was, I got my Binance account. Like back then you couldn't even get Binance accounts. Like they used to be selling Binance accounts on eBay for like $100 because you couldn't get signed up. It was just this, it was crazy. But I had Binance and I'm buying all these like Power Ledger and ABC token and every
both
token
crashed, Power Ledger crashed.
Oh yeah. I mean, they promised the world. Like you read this stuff, and it was just like, oh, this is fantastic. But then you'd read their white paper, and then, oh yeah, we're going to launch in 2025. It's like, okay, cool. So it's just speculation. You're basically a casino. You're praying and hoping and crossing your fingers that this thing's going to take off in 10, 15 years from now. Well, Steam, Hive, I could use it right then, right now. And yet, there was development going on, and the SMTs never really launched, but I could still post to stuff. I could post, back then it was DTube. I would post on DTube. I get my videos up. I didn't have to use YouTube. Sorry, I love you, YouTube. I know you guys are streaming on YouTube. I love you guys. Like this was what was so cool to me. I could actually use it. So that's what hooked me for sure.
No, but I want to jump in because quickly about the SMTs. And it's going to go a little deep for people watching now, but we're going to try to keep it simple. So basically, the SMTs never launched. But what we're having now, the second layer tokens that they're on Hive, basically aren't that the SMTs? Like, wasn't that the promise that was supposed to be delivered?
So, like, SMT, smart media tokens, the whole idea was tokenizing the web. So you could be a business and you could put a token on your business. We had an online forum. So our idea was to create an online forum, and the token would be for this online forum. People could earn tokens on the forum just as easy as they could earn it on Steam. So that never came to fruition. So then, like you're referencing, Hive Engine comes around. Back then it was Steam Engine. And the whole idea was that anyone could pay the fee, press a couple of buttons, and create their own token and put it on whatever they wanted to. The code was there, the development, you could take, any developer could take the code and put the APIs and all the whatever those smart guys do. I don't even know. I have no idea how this stuff works. No, I'm just joking. But it was really fascinating that you could take these tokens and create on anything you really wanted to. You could put them on anything. So why it's not considered an official SMT is because it's not off the layer one. Like like Hive Engine is a smart contract, and then it's built upon, like all of the tokens are built on the Hive Engine. It's not, the tokens are built onto Hive. They're built onto Hive Engine, which is a separate entity, but it's still on the blockchain. Super confusing. Everyone's probably watching right now going, what the hell?
Yeah, but so because we talk about decentralized ecosystems, like most people that are watching don't understand, like there is no company, there's no owner to Hive. It's like a group of people that came together, decided that Justin Sun was trash, and decided we need our own thing, and it should be really decentralized. And that's something that's different from Steam, where there was still a centralized entity, which was the reason why you were able to sell it. But I'm still trying to figure out, like, so how decentralized is Hive Engine, for instance? Like if Hive Engine, the people behind Hive Engine decide, like, we're gonna stop today, like do we lose everything, or is there a solution to that as well?
Well, they're working on it. Like, it is, like, the way that they launched it, it was centralized. Like, it was a couple guys in coding, and actually the guys that were involved in Splinterlands for that, are running the show. So it started out very centralized, but that's just the way that they launched it. They're working on it to be more and more decentralized. We're actually, me and my business partner for Click Track Profit, we're top 10 witness on Hive Engine, not on Hive. There's multiple witnesses now on Hive Engine. So it's getting there. It's not there yet by any stretch, but there is redundancies in place. It's all on blockchain. It's all there, but it still needs some work to do. So a lot of the big developers on Hive are thinking, how do we get that SMT model and do it? So you got Deluxe; those guys are developing stuff. I know Block Trades and all of his development team, they're working on stuff. So people are looking for that decentralization so that it's immutable and you don't need to worry about, anybody tearing it down. But it's coming. And again, Hive technically is only about a year and a half old, right? I mean, yes, the technology is there with Steam and BitShares and all that stuff for 5 years now, but Hive itself, without the Steemit, pulling the strings behind the scenes, Hive's only about a year and a half old, and we've already done some pretty amazing things. So I think give us another year and a half, 2 years, blockchain is going to rival any of the big ones.
Yeah, I mean, Splinterlands was the biggest crypto game in 2020. So that kind of gives you a little bit of perception. I quickly, for people that are watching this and are a little bit like, okay, can you explain to people what witnesses are and how the witness system works for Hive and Hive Engine?
Right. So it's basically what a witness is. That's just a fancy word of just saying, someone who runs the servers, runs the nodes. And the way blockchains work, it has to reach consensus, especially in delegated proof of stakes and even proof of works too. But once, I think it's 7 in Hive specifically, I think it's 7 or 12. I can't really remember the exact number, but 7 or 12 on Hive have to make the change, and then that's consensus. But I see with Hive Engine, it's really interesting. And this is a really good point, because this is why it's not decentralized 100% yet, because there's the development team who kind of do their thing on Hive Engine and then suggest it to the witnesses, and the witnesses either approve it or disprove it, right? But we're not all in this big group together, and we're not making all these decisions. It's kind of like they're coding things, and if we agree with it, then it'll push. So
It's
witnesses
kind of
is
like
just a
a
fancy
department
word.
going to the CEO or the board of directors
Yeah,
for approval.
Yeah. Like, we gotta get the blessings from the powers that be, or that's what we don't want to happen. We want it to be decentralized, where it's consensus is reached and it moves forward. But it's still a work in progress. I'm not gonna lie, but it's getting better. It's a lot better than it was. So, yeah.
But would true 100% decentralization actually be a good thing? Because in a sense, there's still little groups. You'll need them to, that have the knowledge, that have the authority, that have
Yeah.
an insight in a particular area, be it, development or long-term vision, that needs to make this decision. It's actually, if you look at it uh, in a similar way, analogy to, governing a country or something, it's an ecosystem that has to be run by people. So then, being devil's advocate, would 100% decentralization be possible, and would it be a good thing?
There was a guy who used to post on Steam, and he went away, and I don't know what happened to him. But he made a post when I first joined, and I thought it was brilliant. He did this kind of like triangle thing, and he said, we kind of need a little bit of everything. We need the developers to actually make this stuff work. We need the content creators to build a community and get people engaging, but we also need investors, because without each one of these, the other one fails. And that's like this beautiful vision. Decentralization is this beautiful idea on paper. When it comes to proof of stake, if I own, 51% of the stake, is it decentralized, right? Hive has got things in place, and this was the faulty thing with Steam, because the Steemit Inc. team had that ninja mine that owned the majority of it, so they sold it to Justin Sun. Well, Hive doesn't have that ninja mine. We took all the ninja mine and put it in the DHF. So it's actually funding development, which is hilarious. It's such a middle finger to Justin Sun and stuff. But we have no ninja mine in Hive. So think about, and it's funny because we just talked about this on my podcast just earlier today. You would have to buy so much Hive that the price of it would go to 20, 30, 50, 70 bucks to buy 51% of the Hive that's out there. The price of it would go through the roof. So what would the community do? This is the beautiful thing. If someone went and spent all that money, first of all, every single one of us that had a bunch of Hive, we would have our own islands by then because we'd be so rich. But we would just hard fork again. Like that. Okay, you guys can do it. Go ahead. Take 51%. You've shot the price of Hive to the roof. We've got the code. It's open source. Anybody can fork this stuff. We'll just fork it again. Like stick a fork in it, see what happens. I mean, obviously that's not going to happen because the price of it would go skyrocketing. But that's where I think true decentralization comes into play. No one person is in control. And as soon as one person thinks they are in control, the community, the collective, the decentralized community will just say, have fun with it. We'll go do something else.
Yeah, I mean it's what in the comments. Yes, I think this is exactly what it's about. Once it reaches a high level of decentralization, you only get stronger, and
Yeah.
you can't break it. And that's kind of how Hive became a thing. And in the beginning, I was a little bit worried. There were two things that worried. Like in the really beginning, was who was going to stay for the money, and
Right.
who was going to come for the community. Because of course, meaning that the hardcore community left to Hive meant you could actually earn more on Steam because a lot of people that were creating content left there. So, and then of course the Hive community was like, listen, if you're posting on Steam and on Hive,
Mhm.
we're not gonna upvote you on Hive. You're gonna get your upvotes on Steam. We're just gonna leave you behind. So that was one thing that was kind of a little bit concerning for me. Another thing that was concerning was when people came to Hive. Hive is pretty much because of the decentralization. There's no centralized company kind of pushing people to develop something or go for something.
Right.
So it's either the community likes you and you get rewarded for it and you continue building it, or the community doesn't support you and you get frustrated because where you had the company that was kind of giving you push like, okay, you're doing well. On Hive, if you're not into a tribe, basically it's like, okay, there's nobody out there.
Right.
So how have you experienced, because you are of course one of not only in part of different tribes on Hive, but also kind of running the show or being the person behind some of the tribes on Hive. So how do you feel about that development? Is it actually, when it comes to decentralization, a little bit better that there are these tribes and there's like no central entity kind of being there for people that don't yet know where to go?
Right. See, that brings up the kind of going back to the SMTs. So not only can you create immutable communities on Hive, but you can also now with Hive Engine you can put a token on these things. So you look at the track record of some of these really popular tokens that have been built now on Hive Engine. You got Leo Finance. You've got Proof of Brain, and I'm smashing pens. You've got even my token CTP. You've got all these different, income generated tokens like Bro, Index. I mean, you got all these different tokens. But what's really unique is that someone might have 50 Hive power, but they've got 150,000 Leo power. So they're still on Hive, and they're still getting their little bit of Hive when they're doing votes and stuff. But they're a whale on Leo. And that's where the communities and the decentralization really plays a point, really can be effective because you don't need to be a whale on Hive. You can literally set up your own community. You can create your own token, and the market will obviously dictate the value of the token. And you can let your creative juices flow. And as an entrepreneur, that's very attractive to me. And I think what we're seeing is more entrepreneurs kind of seeing this going, so now you got Splinterlands, which is just going through the roof. I mean, they've got a token too, the SPT, and now they do the SPS. I mean, they got multiple tokens. They got DEC too. 3 tokens now. Jeez, man, that's crazy. You got all these different projects on Hive Engine where entrepreneurs are really finding their community and knowing that, you know what, you might only have $100. But $100 will get you, what's Hive's like 40 cents. So, I'm horrible at math, but you would only get a small amount of Hive. But that new token that just launched that has a strong community that might be trading for under a quarter of a penny, that $100, now all of a sudden you're a whale on that new tribe. And we saw that with Proof of Brain. We saw that with Leo. And we saw that with a lot of these tokens that started out with super low prices but strong community. And that is the opportunity for entrepreneurs to find that and really bring their communities here.
Looking at it from a perspective, say, we got some entrepreneurs thinking they've gone through a similar phase as you and they want to delve into this blockchain space. And we're talking about opportunities for entrepreneurs. We talked about community. We talked about price versus community, right?
Mhm.
And the idea is that, community comes first. That's what I'm getting from you. What would how would an entrepreneur have to look at the token space in particular from Hive to, I guess, build a community and then capitalize on that?
Mm-hmm.
What would be, okay, gaming is something that's really, everyone loves gaming, but what would be ideas everyone loves not everyone loves finance, but finance is where money is.
Mm-hmm.
From your perspective, what would be avenues that entrepreneurs could explore that's kind of underappreciated or undervalued right now?
I think there's big opportunity for musical artists, musicians. The music space, I think, is huge. I mean, you think of you're an act, and you're trying to book gigs and you're trying to get live shows and stuff, but it's really hard. COVID has kind of hit, so no one's really going out to the bars and stuff like that. But you know what? You can do some live streams. So here you go, bam! You got 3Speak where you can upload this stuff. You've got Vim where you can live stream this stuff. Now all of a sudden, and you can sell your music online using crypto. You plug into your community or your fans, because that's really what fans are. It's a community like-minded, right? And now you can say, okay, what's my options on Hive? I can set up a community for my fans, where they're talking, they're discussing stuff. I can set up a token where it's 100B to send up a token, and I think that's maybe $40 or something, give or take, to set up your own token that's tradable on a couple of exchanges. Now you can start rewarding your, like if someone makes a comment on your community, sure, you can upvote them with your Hive, but you've got your own token. So now you can start giving them the tokens. They can start earning the tokens. You can do a loyalty program with these tokens. You can do so much stuff with it and that's just music. I mean, we've seen people. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, would you say that there is a technical barrier for these people if they would explore it?
It's a lot better now though than it was when Jean-Luc and I joined. Like back then,
I had no idea what to do. I really had no idea what to do. Like everything, like when people come in now and they're like, it's difficult. I'm like, wow, there's Hive on board. There's the Hive guide. There's so much stuff that can help you out. When I started out, I had to figure out everything for myself. And yeah, I think it's growing. I also think there's so many opportunities. Like the thing is, like if you look at the communities, you already mentioned Leo Finance, CTP, and those communities that are really thriving. I mean, Splinterlands. I'm a big B City fan as well. But then you also have some newer communities. Like there's also a very big makeup community, a Spanish-speaking makeup community as well. You have to really find those communities yourself. I think that's the difficult part. But once you're in a community, if you're like into affiliate marketing and you find out about CTP, you don't have to search for anything else. For a fact, you're gonna find people there that have similar interests. And I think that's still a big thing, is that we might not have enough communities yet. I don't have. Have you tried Rising Stars?
Yeah, I've messed with it. And again, yeah, that's a really good point, because we're using the music example. I mean, you got Rising Star, where I'm pretty sure you could talk to the developers of that and kind of figure out a way to integrate your music into that, create your own NFT with it, or and there's the Vibes token too. I mean, there's so much stuff you can do, but just like you said, you just got to find the community, plug in, or if you don't have it, start building the community. That does take time, though. That's the big misconception, that you can just show up and say, "Hey, I'm starting a community. come and hang out. I mean, like you guys do these live streams. Like, I remember the time that the time when I started doing a live stream. I think I had my mother in the audience, and that was it. That was the first person that watched, and she's like, "You can do it. You'll be something one day," and it grows from there. But it starts, and you got to start, and that's the best thing about plugging into these communities. They will support you, and they will continue to support you, and it's a lot easier, I think, to develop a following in a community here on Hive rather than traditional, because that's
It's still
everyone
very
and their mother.
small, and everyone wants to help each other grow. So actually, this is an opportune time, I'd say,
Yes.
because the moment it gets easy, what you see is what you get for everyone. Then it's too late. Then it gets saturated, and
Yep.
then it will be hard to kind of differentiate yourself from the masses.
I always tell a lot of my students and stuff, because they're online businesses, and they're always told you need to do social media and create content. And where are you supposed to go? You're supposed to go to Instagram. You're supposed to go to YouTube. You're supposed to go to Facebook. You're supposed to go to Twitter. You're supposed to go to TikTok. Go to Snapchat if that's still around. Whatever. You're supposed to go. You're told to go to all these places. The problem is that you're competing with people that are really, really good at doing that. And I'm not saying you can't get really, really good at doing that, but breaking into that is really hard. And it's a lot easier, because think about it, like to share revenue on YouTube or something like that, like you need like 10,000 subscribers, 10,000 hours, 1,000 subscribers, whatever you got. How do you get to that? That's the question. And as online entrepreneurs, you could bust your butt, and you're trying to get comments on your WordPress blog, and you've been blogging for 6 months, and you're getting crickets. Like no one's coming to and interacting with you. Now do the same thing that you're doing, but do it on Hive. Watch what happens. Now, just like you said, it's a lot easier now to first of all get onboarded, but also to make noise here. You're competing against 5,000 active accounts a day blogging, compared to 5,000 people a minute uploading an Instagram video. What are you gonna where do you spend your time? I mean, sure, the reach on Instagram is bigger, but I say build on the blockchain first. Because if you had a couple thousand people following you on Hive, and you say, hey, we're going to go to Instagram and start doing stuff, that's a lot easier than going right to Instagram and saying, hey, I'm here creating stuff, come and engage with me. So, yeah.
Got it. I want to switch it up a bit to Splinterlands gaming,
Yes.
because I'm an avid gamer myself. Sean-Luc knows this. I have not explored it yet. I have dabbled in that.
Why?
Let me
Why?
finish. Let me finish. I have dabbled a bit in Decentraland, played around there. I have checked out Splinterlands, kind of like a card game concept. So, first of all, the game in question, how similar is it to a game like Hearthstone? Are you familiar with Hearthstone? This
So,
Blizzard?
disclaimer, I've played one game basically my entire life, and that's Call of Duty. Other than that, like when it comes to gaming, so all of this card stuff, I'm aware of it and I'm familiar with it, but never played it. Like people say Magic the Gathering, it's like I know what it is, never played it.
All right.
So, yeah, but I know what you mean. How similar is it?
From what I've seen, it looks pretty similar,
Right.
mechanic-wise. But then here comes the tokenization and the economics question.
Mhm.
How do the economics and thus the competitiveness in Splinterlands work? Like, do keep people compete in leagues, or the tournaments, or the prizes to be won, or can
Oh
people place
man.
bets, or how does that work?
Go ahead, John.
Oh, it's the gift that keeps on giving. I mean, take your pick. There's leagues. So every 2 weeks, there's a league. So you compete to get to the higher leagues. The higher leagues you get, the more rewards you get at the end of the season, which is, I think Jean-Luc will be able to attest to this. Opening rewards crates at the end of the season is about, probably as addictive a thing you can do and as exciting thing you can do. And it's just, it makes your day. It's just
How
So you have loot
pay to
reward
win
chest,
is it?
but no. You have loot reward chest, and you have the end of the season, which is like John said, 2 weeks, and you have daily rewards if you do the quests. So to get people away from just playing their strongest team all the time and using the same team all the time, they have daily rewards where they try to get you to switch it up.
Right.
And you have to understand you're playing against like tens of thousands of people all over the world because Splinterlands is, I think every league has at least 10,000 people playing. So
Mhm.
whenever the great thing about the game is when you go online and you go play a match, there's always somebody waiting to play you. So that if it wasn't there, it would be like, okay, we're waiting. I don't have any competition. But because there are already so many people playing online, you always have somebody to play against. And then the rewards thing is you have to decide for yourself because you start out with a little bit. You don't start out with much.
Right.
So I decided to just put $25 in. I paid like 10 bucks for a summoner spellbook, which you need to start the game properly, and I tried a bunch of cards which were really cheap. And I had no idea what I was buying, but I just bought the six cheapest cards on the board. And I actually did some stupid things as well. And then after a couple of weeks, I was like, wait, I can rent cards. And
Right.
then it started becoming interesting because then I realized that I could rent certain cards that could make me win more often, which could lead to bigger rewards. But then some of those cards, even when renting them, are pretty damn expensive. So I would have to win at least 20 games to get back the rewards from the cards that I've rented. So there are some strategic decisions that you have to make. And of
Mhm.
course, if you go big and you do the right things and push all the right buttons, you can really get a very big ROI. And if you just do stupid things all the time, you're gonna lose money. So it really depends on how much effort. I don't know. I can only speak for myself. I spent like 25 bucks and I'm now slowly growing and I'm kind of considering whether or not I should join a guild because you can also join guilds, like
Right.
different groups as well, or you should decide to play in a higher league because you want to get more rewards because you have certain tiers, and the higher tier you are, the more rewards you get at the end uh, of the season. And then you also have to decide: am I going to buy a pack? I made the mistake of buying a pack without any potions. So
Mm.
when I opened up the pack, I was like, okay, this definitely was not the same value as I paid for. But there's so many levels. There are really so many levels to it.
Would you say, does the Pareto principle apply, like the 2080 rule, that you have a small group of winners who, reap big rewards, and then the majority or the average person is either break even or they lose?
I'd say so, but you got to remember just what John Lu said. There's different levels. So for example, my level is not playing the game that much. I know that I suck at it, and I know that there's people out there that are amazing and have it down to a science. So I'm looking at it as an investment. I'm looking at it like, okay, when I was growing up, we had basketball cards, baseball cards, all these trading cards. I understood opening a pack and seeing if I got that really valuable card in the pack. Same model.
It's
So,
starting to make sense. Yeah, I see it. I see
right?
what you meant.
So I understand that these cards that are not, you can't, it's funny because you'll get a kick out of this, John Luke. I actually have a couple of physical Steam Monster cards right here. These were
What?
promos. Yeah, I got these. I went to Steam Fest in Poland in 2018, and they were giving these out. So this is Splinterland, the Steam Monsters back then. It wasn't even Splinterlands, right? Got Frost Giant, right? And then
I know Frost Giant. I have a
I got
card
a
of it.
Gold
Yeah.
Dragon, you know, Gold Legendary right there. But I don't. These are just like little promo things, but these can scuff, right? These can get the angle, these can break and they can get, and that lowers the value. But an NFT, a digital trading card, never goes out. So for me, if I'm going to invest on a gold foil legendary in Splinterlands, I know the only way the value goes up and down is the market. It's not on how well I keep the cards or not. So as an investor, that's what got me hooked to Splinterlands. Now I'm starting to play it a little bit and I'm starting to understand things, but I suck at it, man. Like, I don't even know. I like, like I said, I get to like silver league, and if I get the gold league, it's a miracle, and that's a small miracle, and that's just middle of the ground. That's not even like a high league. So, yeah, on a collector side of things, that's what I focused on, and that made sense to me. Again, going back to use case, I actually could use this. I could rent the cards. So there's a passive income model with it. I don't have to play at all. I can play with the cards and make some money and rewards. Wow, but I can sit there and rent them out because there's people that aren't going to spend $500 on a gold foil legendary, but you know what? They'll spend $5 a week to rent it. I can provide that if I own these cards. So there's tons of things you can do with this game, not just play it.
I'm definitely gonna check it out now.
It's an addiction.
I saw a card today. I think
Stream
it was on
content
Twitter.
ideas.
Yeah, I think it's Steve C shared a card that he has a card in his collection that goes for 25K, or at least the cheapest one on the market is 25K. I'm like, I can't rent that card because it's not available for rent. So
Yeah.
there's still cards out there that we don't get to see. Like if you're in a lower league, there's certain cards out there that people play with that
Yeah.
you don't even know they exist until you play with somebody. And that's also for me. Like 2 weeks ago, I was playing against people, and all of a sudden, I was getting like in the top 40, top 20 people within my league. And
Yeah.
I started playing against people that had cards that I had never seen before. And then all of a sudden, you have to start reinvesting your time again to understand where these cards come from. Can I rent them? Can I
Yeah.
play with them as well? It's
Is
really
there a limited supply on the cards? Like within the whole ecosystem, say you have 5,000 players, there's only 10,000 cards, and doesn't matter if the ecosystem grows, you only have these 10,000 cards, or did they add new cards over time?
They add new packs, so new series
Packs,
of
okay.
packs, right? So they had alpha, beta, promo, reward. Reward you get for, just like John Luke was saying about doing the daily rewards and at the season's end. But they just sold out of Untamed, which was their latest pack set, and Dice has got like 35,000 packs left. Chaos Legion is their next series. That's coming out, I think, end of September, they were saying, or maybe later. So there's always new cards, but that's exactly really good question. It's like, what happens to these cards? Well, once they're off, you can't buy them inside the game. Sure, you can buy packs on secondary markets, people that invest in these and try to resell them for a profit, but there's only a certain amount of cards. So like, and they got all the stats too of these certain cards. I think it's like some of these gold foil legendaries, there's only like 150 of them ever. And there's already like 120 of them that have been mined. So there's 30 more of these things after that. Well, you're already seeing some of the prices of these things, just like you said, 25,000, 100,000. There was $1 million card on the market a couple of weeks ago. So there's 3 of these cards in existence, and one guy put it up for sale. Now he's got it up for rent.
So just for context for the people listening, when you guys mentioned the $25,000, it's US dollars valued cards of digital cards from an online game.
Yes.
Just for perspective.
Yes. And you play it, you have a chance to get some of those cards because you could actually reveal it in the rewards you get every day. You do the daily quests, you could actually unveil one of these $1,000 cards that are there. You have the chance, and you buy your spell book and you start playing, and it's play to earn. That's what they're branding right now.
yeah, it's pretty cool. Diego's gonna jump out in a quick second because he has to do
You
a
see my
drop.
eyes.
Yeah, I know. So I wanna. If he moves out, then you know why he moved out. I quickly want to jump on. Do you actually own NBA Top Shots?
No, I don't, and I missed out on that. I'm a pretty big NBA fan, and I really wasn't in tune with the NFTs when it launched. I wasn't really I was kind of like, oh yeah, I know what it is, but I wasn't even into Splinterlands that big when Top Shots released. So
yeah, I think it's still worth it. I think you can still jump in now and get like 2 packs for $18, which is 6 moments, is $3 a moment, and I mean you can you could still. I think they're retiring them soon.
Mhm.
But I think it would be really interesting for you as well. But I quickly want to jump back to a question earlier,
Mhm.
um, because it does remind me of something. And basically, what Raywa was saying, like, remember when Dogecoin was a joke? I quickly want to ask you, what's the craziest crypto story that you've got? I mean, you mentioned that you were into Bitcoin, but was there like, did you have a bag of Bitcoin still left from 2014 that you opened back up in 2017? Or what was the craziest crypto story there was?
Well, the biggest one is like our company. We bought mining miners and the whole nine, and we back then we were mining about a Bitcoin a day. And at one point, I think we had, I can't even tell you, 75 to 100 of these things, like just sitting there. And that's when we got in at about $100 and we sold them at 500. So my biggest oops is selling at 500. But again, I can't really fault it because we were in profit. I had no idea what the future brought. But I've just seen a lot of people go insane with the stupidest things on the planet when it comes to like things that promise to like do your dishes, walk your dog, like make your bed, and it's all on the blockchain. It's like everything doesn't need to be on the blockchain, guys. Just saying it's on the blockchain is supposed to be like something that goes, oh, I'm going to drop money on this. It's like that's what I've noticed over the years. I really don't get into anything that I don't understand. Um, Except for my buddy got me into Safe Moon because I don't know why I spent $50 on Safe Moon like an idiot, but you know it is what it is. That's about it. Other than that,
But,
I don't
but
really have any like.
on the flip side, you did get into the drop of Uniswap.
Yes,
So,
I
so
yeah.
some advice.
Oh, Uniswap. Oh
Some
my
advice
God.
for, because there are people here who want to get into the crypto space. Like the two questions. One question is, because we kind of have to round it off. We're taking already an hour of your time. So the
Yeah.
first question is like we're discussing, like, we're from Suriname. The three things related to crypto that got the most attention over the past years
Mhm.
are OneCoin,
Right.
which isn't really related to crypto, but in some ways related to crypto. Omnia, I
Mhm.
don't know if you know Omnia, but it was a company that was mining Bitcoin for you.
Okay.
I also had a referral tier system as well. And the last one was Dagcoin. Those were really kind of the cryptos that got the cryptos that got the most. Uh, and now, of course, Tron. There apparently is a very big push on Tron in Suriname. Don't ask me why. So, what advice would you give to people? You're kind of knowing which way I'm gonna go. What advice would you give to people to stay away from those kind of, uh, yeah? How can you prepare people to better understand what cryptocurrency and blockchain is really about, to avoid these kind of referral based pushy, kind of hoping it moves kind of cryptocurrencies?
It goes back to use case, but I think like if you can understand it, and I'm not saying understanding as soon as you see it, but if you can understand something, the more you read it, the more you plug into the community, and it makes sense to you, that's a really good thing to look into. That's why I was attracted to Hive and Steam because it I understood it. And there was no push, there was no like, oh, join under my downline and get a referral bonus. It was literally plug into the community and start creating, and the more value you give to the community, you'll be rewarded. So if someone's telling you to get into this in 30 days less, you're going to make $1 million or more, then that's obviously too good to be true. But if someone's telling you, get into this, start using it, plug into the community, start giving value, and especially in these social media type communities and blockchains, now you got something you can look at. But if something sounds like you're being pushed into something because that person gets a benefit, it's like, and I have nothing against affiliate marketing. I'm an affiliate marketer. It just goes back to the building relationships. You know, that's if you're building the relationship, then you can suggest something to someone. But if someone's pushing you into something because they get a direct benefit, it's like,
Okay, but can you quickly elaborate a little bit on the difference between affiliate marketing and multi-level marketing?
Well, multi-level is exactly what it says. So, like, if I tell Diego about something, then Diego tells you about it, I get paid from Diego's effort as well as yours. So that's MLM in multi-level marketing in a nutshell. Affiliate marketing, while it still has an affiliate aspect to it, it's usually just one level. So Amazon.com's got an affiliate program. Not very lucrative, but they've got one. I tell Jean-Luc, here's my link to go buy this, MP3 player or something, whatever. He buys it, I get a little kickback. That's affiliate marketing. So, so affiliate programs and stuff like that, I'm into. I'm not against MLM in any stretch of the imagination. I'm not anti-MLM. I just think that the problem is people try to pitch the money-making side of it instead of the product. And I think that's when you get into trouble, when you're pitching the money-making instead of I love this product. Check out this product.
Yeah, then we're also getting into Nigerian Prince thing because they've really refined it. I mean, like, if you compare that coin to OneCoin, basically they've taken out all the bad things about OneCoin and kind of completely refined the product, not even talking about the money aspect anymore, which is really, really interesting. There was also a new one that was claimed to be like, okay, but it's science backed. And basically the whole story I heard about it was trying to get as many people in the community as big as possible, just for getting the community as big as possible, because once you have 1 million people, you can basically do anything with them, because everything, well, there will be at least 100,000 people that it will stick to. So I think that's my biggest worry. The second one is, how do you get into airdrops? Like, what's a great way to airdrops, and what should people know before they go into airdrops?
Well, I fell into the Uniswap airdrop completely. And the reason I did is because I had my ear to the street. I was paying attention to what Taskmaster and Marky Mark were saying on Hive. They said that, hey, there's this old coin on Steam. If you go and trade it on this decentralized exchange called Uniswap, you can get money for this thing. And I followed their steps, their directions, traded it out. I got a couple $100, whatever. I was happy, forgot about it. And then all of a sudden, Uniswap's doing an airdrop, 400 tokens. Wait a minute. I used Uniswap. Let me go and see if I get this airdrop. Log into Uniswap, ta-da, you got 400 tokens. It's like, well, so how did I get it? I got it by being active, like poking around, actually trying things, but also, keeping your ear to the street. And when someone says, hey, check this out, you don't have to always dive into it, but at least investigate. Like, just do your due diligence, look into stuff. If they're asking you for money, then you kind of go look the other way. But yeah, exactly. Do research and then do more research. Yeah. Still thinking about Call of Duty. I think of Call of Duty all the time. It's bad. It's bad.
Yeah, definitely. I heard about Uniswap. I saw the post come in, but I was just too focused on
It,
studying
it
back
didn't
then.
register. It doesn't
And then,
register
yeah.
because there's so much. I think that's the biggest problem. There's just so much.
Yeah.
So for people starting out, the people watching, and I want to start on Hive, what would be the first step? What would be the first thing that they should do?
I have this little thing I call the 5,500, 5,000 formula. So I say interact with, 5 people a day. Go into the communities, go into the different tribes, go into the different front ends. Just talk to 5 different people. Make comments on their blog posts, make comments on their videos, et cetera, et cetera. That will turn into 500 followers, because the more times you're interacting with people and being active and engaging with people, you're going to attract people following you. And then try to get to 5,000 Hive power. Now, that doesn't have to be in a day or less, because it's not going to happen. When I started out, the thought of getting to 500 Steam power was just out of sight, out of mind. But you just chip away. And if you're focusing on 5 people a day, just interacting with them, building the relationships, adding value to their journey, commenting on their posts, you'll generate the followers, which will in turn generate the Hive power, because you are getting rewarded for being engaging. So if you're just starting out, don't expect to learn it all overnight. Poke around, ask questions. You can join the Hive Guide. That's free, completely free. It's got all the lessons you need to get started. But there's tons of other resources out there, and just poke around and just talk. Don't be afraid to ask questions, comment when you don't feel like commenting. It's a good plan. So, yeah, man.
Okay,
So
I am
Diego,
back.
you want to
I
share
got it.
something?
I got it.
Awesome. So what is
Yeah,
it?
this is why I
Can you
was.
Oh,
quickly?
VFreds. Well, that's Gary Vaynerchuk's thing.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
there was an airdrop today at 5 p.m. exactly, and there was 1,700 avatars token, and there's
Nice.
4,600 VFriend holders, and each one can claim one avatar. So it's first come, first serve. So I
Wow.
saw the numbers go down by the minute. So yeah, I got it.
Nice.
I'm happy. My
Congratulations.
my attention is back here.
Nice. Nice. Nice.
Awesome. Okay, Diego, do you have a final question for John?
um, I really love the way you framed it with the five. Can you repeat it slowly? The five,
Yeah, five
five.
interactions or engagements, 500 followers, and 5,000 hive power. That's the goal, and then just work at that until you hit it. Yeah.
How translatable would such a concept be to your real life? And then I'm gonna maybe ask a off-topic question here. Would you rather read 100 different books or 10 books 10 times?
So I actually have about 8 bookcases. Um, my wife told me, because we just moved into a new house, she's like, you can't put all 8 in your office. Don't do it. So you're asking about books, man. That's my next addiction. So I've read quite a few books more than 10 times, but those are far and few in between. I think I would go reading 10 different books so you just get a different view of things. Now, not saying that reading a book multiple times wouldn't be a good idea. I've read, As a Man Thinketh by James Allen once a quarter for the past 10 years, so I mean, that's 30 or 40, 50 times I've read it, but I haven't read any other book that much, so
Okay.
I would say more books, the better.
Okay, we just gonna have to put your Amazon affiliate link for that book in the description of this show. We have to do that. So you can
I
drop
think
it.
it's, dude, I think you can just get it for free because the thing was written like 120 years ago. I'm pretty
Okay.
sure it's public domain. You could just go and download it online, or you find
Yeah, but
YouTube videos of it.
if you have the Amazon affiliate link, we would
Oh,
love
gee,
to.
I don't even know what it is. Yeah, no, that's my favorite. Like everyone's like Napoleon Hill's, Think and Grow
Mm,
Rich is the greatest book ever. I'm like, it's okay, but As a Man Thinketh by James Allen was my go-to. Like just
okay,
brilliant stuff. So
awesome. Thank you for sharing that nugget.
for
That's a
sure,
good
for
one.
sure.
That's a good one to know.
Yeah, man.
Awesome. Now, with that being said, that's it for me, Sean-Luc. John, where can people find you? How can they find the Hive Guide?
Mhm.
And what can people expect from you in the short term?
For sure. Thehiveguide.com is the website. Also, our online affiliate marketing and online business training platforms, clicktrackprofit.com. You can find our front end on Hive, ctptalk.com. It's our little community. I'm John G. Olson on Hive. I should have picked a different username instead of putting the G in there because people call me John Golson and John Go and all sorts of. That was my fault. Branding is very important, folks. So, yeah, John G. Olson on Hive and John_G_Olson on Twitter and all the social medias. So, yeah, man, I'm always around. I'm like taxes, man. I'm always around when you don't expect me. I'm here to piss you off. So.
Hey man, this was a really fun social confoes. We really want to thank you for your time, and I hope a lot of people have learned. I also hope a lot of people will join Hive in the next coming weeks. Diego, quickly, when can people expect the audio version of this, and where can they find it?
Yeah, so as usual, the audio versions will be released on Saturdays on the website at 12 p.m. Surinamese time. That's 11 a.m. Eastern time. And it can be listened on Apple Podcast, Spotify, basically any mainstream podcasting platform. Share with your friends. This was a very interesting topic. So, especially if you're interested in crypto, Hive blockchain, social media, decentralized social media, this is definitely one worth re-listening to. Appreciate you coming on, John. And with that being said, Jean-Luc,
All right, this was the experiment we're doing at 4 p.m. Surinamese time. If you enjoyed this, we'll try to do separate and different time zones and different times as well. But it's always, it's every Tuesday. So I guess see you next Tuesday. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great time. Bye bye.
Thanks, guys.